I am deeply honored to be here tonight and have the opportunity of introducing to you Christopher Fons. As Christopher will tell you, the fight against AIDS is not just a fight against a deadly epidemic disease. It is an epic struggle against a brilliant virus that continues to defeat the scientific community and exploit the worst traits of humankind, that of ignorance and fear and prejudice and discrimination. There is no one in this community of Milwaukee who has confronted AIDS in their life and done more to battle this horrible disease and the shameful response of society to it than Christopher Fons. 5 years ago, Christopher was the co-founder of ACT UP Milwaukee, the AIDS Coalition to Unleash Power. He quickly became the driving force behind ACT UP Milwaukee, and I believe that he remains today the heart and the soul of that great organization. He led the fight against AIDS discrimination by the nursing home industry in Milwaukee, which back then would not accept any person with AIDS who needed care. He led the fight against AIDS discrimination by dentists in Milwaukee when we could not secure enough routine dental care for the AIDS community. He led the fight for increased city AIDS funding and a strategic plan for AIDS care and prevention, all of which had been absent for 10 years and all of which now is occurring. He led the protest against the city of Milwaukee last year, the city allowing the cryptosporidium outbreak, with a horrendous outcome of 92 people with AIDS having died from cryptosporidiosis, a disease which Chris himself continues to battle today. And through it all, he continues to be an ardent promoter of aggressive AIDS prevention, whether it is through clean needle exchange or the social marketing and distribution of condoms, or providing the most frank and logical information on AIDS prevention to anyone who can benefit from it. Surely Christopher's approach to AIDS prevention would have saved hundreds of thousands of lives in this country if our society and if our government and if our school systems had supported it at the very beginning of this epidemic. As all of you in this room know, throughout the 20th century in this country, every successful campaign for social and economic justice has been led by aggressive activism that most always has included nonviolent civil disobedience. Whether it was at the beginning of this century with the campaign for the rights of women to vote, or later for the rights of workers to organize, or whether it was for the civil rights movement in the 1960s, or the anti-war movement in the 60s and the 70s, courageous activist leadership was always the bottom line for success in achieving justice. When the long and arduous fight against the AIDS epidemic is finally won, I am convinced that the people of Milwaukee will look back and will thank Christopher Fons for his courageous and his aggressive leadership that has brought a critical sense of justice to the epic struggle against AIDS in this community. I am deeply honored to present to you tonight Christopher Fons.
have noticed standing upright is not really my forte right now, so I'm going to be really short. As the AIDS crisis continues to skyrocket out of control, creeping into every corner of the population, exacerbating already existing problems such as drug addiction and the outrageous state of health care, killing me and more of all of our friends and families. Staring into the face of this monster, sometimes I find it hard to believe that I can do anything to even begin to rid it from the face of the earth. But I do honestly believe that some aspects have improved, however slightly. At least now people can say the word AIDS, and sometimes they can even talk about it rationally. I know that I and ACT UP have aided in the struggle in their own loud, rather obnoxious way. Usually I have to rely on the occasional stranger who stops me in the street to thank me, or a pat on the back from someone else in the AIDS community that I see at a meeting. Unfortunately, we're rarely acknowledged by our own queer community. That's why I want to thank Progressive Milwaukee tonight for recognizing my years of activism. In addition, I'd like to thank my mother, who's here. She introduced me to activism and social justice at a very tender age, and it's always been a part of my life since. I'd like to thank all the other members of my family who have supported me and shared in my actions, many of whom are also here, most of them behind cameras. I'd like to thank all of my compatriots who have been in ACT UP, both here and nationally over the years. And I'd like to thank members of the AIDS community who realize that our dramatic behavior is necessary and does open doors for them. One person can't end the madness, but if we all do what we can stop the cycles of greed, inaction, and indifference that have made AIDS the pandemic that it is. ACT UP, fight back! Fight AIDS! ACT UP, fight